Welcome to Hashtime with Navguzi Chwanuka. This is a place where we help you unravel social constructs, discuss self-development in line with mental health, emotional well-being, and everything in between that directly or indirectly affects us in the millennial world around us. If you're hearing my voice for the first time and are the kind of person who is not scared of being a better version of yourself even if it requires you to contradict who you were 24 hours ago, consider this your virtual home. I'm your host, Navguzi Chwanuka, and I cannot wait to engage with you in the various conversations. For our last moment of reflection with the 2022 guests, specifically this year, because I hope that I might continue with this in January until we officially open up season 4. So for our last one this year, we're having Kirungi Brandoline, and yo, the gems that she comes with. Hey, I don't have to delay this, and I'm going to use the thing that she doesn't like. So without further ado, let's jump into her session. Kirungi, welcome to the podcast again.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to be back.
You featured in February. I don't remember the exact date.
Imagine, time flies so fast. Like, I can't believe it was Feb and we're already ending the year. It feels like yesterday, you know?
It doesn't feel like it's so long back.
Yeah.
It sort of feels like at least it can be like a 2 months back, but it's a
right?
it's a whole 10 months.
Yeah.
What has
it's been a good year.
What has 2022 been for you?
Oh man, 2020 has been again so much growth for me. I think there's just been so much growth in so many ways, so much learning.
Yeah.
I also think a theme for me that sort of recurred in 2022 was rethinking what friendship means to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you really do not take time to think about and shape. Like sometimes we know what we want in relationships, with, intimate relationships. We know what we want from family, but maybe we don't usually take time to think about friendships, our friendships, and how they are being shaped around us, how they are affecting us.
Right.
If they are even good for us.
That part. Wait.
Yes. So that has been 2022 for me, basically.
So much growth happening and rethinking.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've experienced in 2022 that you feel like, man, I really have to stick with this?
I think one of the best things I've experienced is radical faith.
Radical what?
Radical faith. I feel like that's something I've been practicing and I want to maintain. It's just that kind of faith that's just radical. Like,
how
you can't
does
even
that
explain
work?
it to people.
I'm already asking, and you're and you're saying you can't explain what?
Well, it's really hard to explain, but all I can say is it's the kind of faith where you have to teach yourself to believe that you can actually move mountains, to believe that mountains can move for you, things can move for you, people can come through for you. And why I call it radical, it's because it's so difficult for you to just practice that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
So you have to be radical. You have to be like a mad person. People get to a point where they start to feel like maybe you're not living in reality. Like maybe you're getting out of touch with reality.
That part.
And yeah, and I've just had to tell myself, God can do anything. You know, you have to and it's not just saying it. It's not just saying, God can just do anything. No. It's God can actually do anything you ask him to do, or whatever you want to be done for you. And this year has taught me radical faith a lot. That I want to take with me forever.
Yeah. Because
I've realized it takes a lot of mental will for you to be able to take the wide road to hell, where you're thinking destructively and thinking all the worst case scenarios and thinking about all the negative outcomes that could, happen. Mm-hmm. And then you have to do that 360 turn and have to convince yourself that what you're thinking is not right. and then you have to start thinking constructively. That has been like crazy for me. Like practicing that has been so crazy, but has helped me. It has helped me to respond better, not react. It has helped me to it's helped me to respond better. It's helped me to learn how to detach and release instead of being caught up in something that has happened. Someone has hurt you, you want to hold on to it. Something has happened, not gone as you expected. You want it to define your future. So all I can say is radical faith.
Because that's where I was actually going to ask you, at what point when you're practicing radical faith, at what point do you realize that, okay, this is actually not healthy for me and therefore I have to let go?
It takes a lot of practice, but when you start to learn to have, steady, calm conversations in your mind, you can literally you become an observer, and you can literally observe the debate. It's like you're in court. You can literally listen to yourself, the two sides of yourself having arguments. Like there's like the affirmative and the other side, the negating side. And you have to get to a point where you can literally be an observer. If you can get to a point of being an observer and listening to yourself internally, you can get to that point where you listen to yourself tell you, I think you're going the wrong way, or I think you're handling this in a very negative way, and there are going to be repercussions to that kind of thinking. And of course, there'll be the other side that says, no, but this and this, you deserve this, and da-da-da. And I like to call that like the ego self and the spirit self, or the lower self and the higher self. And those conversations are always happening in our minds. We just don't take time to give both of them chance, because guess what? The one that's like repulsive and very destructive is way stronger, way more aggressive. It's more convincing. Yeah, it's like when you're angry and you just want to text that message really quick and show this person how angry you are, or you want to just scream or something. So that voice that's like on the negating side, that's the lower self, is really, really strong and aggressive and very convincing, because it's like it makes you feel like you have a right to be angry. You have a right to be, pissed off. You have a right to tell people off or do something like that. And now this other voice is really gentle. It actually is gentle, and it's not even shouting in your mind. It's just trying to, and it's just calm, and it's just saying, like, honestly.
You know what I've noticed this year? This year I've noticed I have a toxic trait of being calm in my anger. I can abuse you, but when I'm very calm and you call me, you think I'm going to quarrel. You're going to find me talking with so much grace. I've noticed that's the point in my life where I can really piss off someone. I want, if I have to respond to the person, I make sure that I am sober. I want emotions. I want to make sure that I'm sober. And there I'm really toxic. And I think
it's a very if you think about it, I feel like it's filtered, it's sieved through, it's sieved through anger if you're calm. Like you literally know what you're doing.
You know that thing where you're like, when a debate ends and you're like, I should have said this. It's because you aren't thinking. Now I want to collect my mind and take my time. And we are going to
and for me that's, I think, a very good point, a very good place to be, because it's in that process of like collecting your mind that you're sieving through your thoughts, and remember your thoughts carry energy and power, and they bring things to life. So if you're able to sieve through your thoughts, then you're able to know exactly what you're communicating or bringing to life or creating.
Yes, I also don't want to regret things, because sometimes when we are angry, we can really say stuff that we don't mean.
Things that you can't turn back, things that you can't even apologize for. So for me, it's just that point of being able to listen to that voice. And I finally understood what, the Bible meant when Jesus saying that the road to hell is really wide and big and easy, and the road to heaven is very narrow and small. That I understood very well, because choosing the higher self, choosing that path of constructive thinking, choosing that particular path is hard. My God, it's so hard. It's so hard, and sometimes you forget and you backslide, if I can use that backsliding Sometimes you misuse your thoughts and the gift that God gave you of speaking in two things. We misuse that a lot. You're caught up in patterns. But the beauty about the journey I've taken in my life is the idea of self-awareness is that you are in constant awareness.
Right.
Like even when you backslide, there's just that voice or that memory that, look, you're doing this, but it's not right. And it's not in accordance to God or to the higher self or to the direction that you're trying to take.
Right.
Recently, I was thinking about something else that is really, really addictive and very hard to break.
What's that?
It's gossiping. Gossiping. Like that pattern is so easy to fall into.
Yeah.
It's so easy, especially if you go to work, if you have a workplace, if you go to a community. For some reason, no matter how much you try to avoid gossiping, it comes up. Why? You're going to be in places where people are complaining about other people. This comes up, that comes up. Something's always happening. So it's like something that's just really part of us. We find ourselves gossiping, yeah?
I think we just
and
love
it becomes
stories.
normal.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know one thing I've noticed
which is a
about
good
gossiping?
thing.
I've been
It's
reading.
like stories.
Exactly. When I felt like when there's an anthology that made me feel like I think I love gossip. I was reading a book and I was constantly finding myself with the want of finding out, what is happening in this person's life, you know? And I was like, but
In the
I'm a
book.
big gossip, yeah.
Yeah. But this is how you can tell if it's good or not. Yeah. If what you're doing is gossip or storytelling, like you're saying, yeah.
Right.
Now, two ways to know. You have to ask yourself, and this is something I'm bringing it up now because it's something I've been reflecting upon in the last days as the year is ending. What's that one thing I would want to leave behind? I know you said what's the one thing you can go with, but that's the one thing I would want to leave behind.
The gossip part.
And the gossip part. And I had to sit down and really, really analyze what I mean, yeah? Because it's so easy to get into also a pattern of defending the gossiping. Now, the question that I have to ask myself is, how does this conversation make me feel after?
Yeah.
And sometimes it makes you feel more empty. And it's a train. It's like the moment you start, you don't stop. The moment you start having conversations with other people, or people come to you and sometimes you're trying to avoid it, but people come to you and be like, can you imagine this and this happened, so and so did this. And in the process, you find yourself contributing to something that's not even, your own business. It's not even part of your business. It's like there's just, oh God, you guys, like the devil can just make, and then you just go and go and go. The second question you may ask yourself, in case the first one doesn't work, because maybe you've been in a pattern for long, the second question you ask yourself is, so is this constructive or destructive?
That part.
And in many cases, if you find that the conversations you've been, let's call them conversations. If you find the conversations you've been having with other people about other people are more destructive than constructive. Because guess what? God blessed us with this mouth. Whatever we speak comes to life.
Right.
We speak things into life. So sometimes when you're having this pattern and God has called you to use your voice for good, to speak life into people, to build, and you're using your voice to destroy in terms of character, because again, that's character assassination. You're using the voice to destroy, you're using it to distract, you're using it to taint. And because you're in a circle of people who are also doing it often, no one is there to there's nothing helping to show you that there's something is wrong here,
Yeah.
And then I started realizing it's one of those patterns that's hard to even eliminate completely, because guess what? It's like our families are built off. I mean, are you even having a conversation if it's not about other people?
Are you serious?
Look at that. Takes me to the third point. The third question you should ask yourself is, if we took out other people from the conversations we have with this person, do we have anything else to talk about?
Ooh, that.
Because then you'll find that half of the friends you have or people you have around you, you're friends with them because you gossip, because all you do is talk about other people.
Do you know how I realized? Do you know what shocked me? You've talked about the part of rethinking friendships, yeah? And now you're talking about the part of gossip. I remember experiencing a major shock in my O level. And O level is when I was more outward, more ready, I think, to experience and understand life. But then I was doing it in a space where there were only girls, right? And then I realized there were people that were in cliques, fours, threes, that kind of thing. And every time it was break time, these people would come together, and if one of them is not with them, they are talking about them. And I was like, how does this work? You are friends. It just didn't make sense. And I was like, what is this? It was really hard for me to understand. Like, you guys are friends. 1 minute you're laughing, and the moment one steps away, they become a topic of discussion in a negative way, rather a derogative way. And I was like, what is this? I think it really struck me to a point that I'm still carrying it forward, because I experienced O-level in between 2006 and 2009. Look at me. 13 years later, I'm still thinking like, hey?
Yeah, and I don't even think people are doing it in a conscious way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a habit. You know how habits are. They're just things you do, and you don't have really so much control over them.
Mm-hmm.
And habits are very, addictive. So they form patterns. You find yourself repeating the pattern, yeah? So I found that a lot of these people are dealing with more neurological challenges than the intention to harm.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, because again, if you look at the neurological side of how habits are formed and how patterns are formed and how they just keep going on and on and on, and how they affect everyone else around you and so on, you find that a lot of these people they are not doing this with the intention to harm. They just have no control over it. And it's a very tricky topic because, again, all of us are doing it at one point or another.
Yeah.
And it's not an issue of who the person not doing it is more righteous or not. No. And I'm not saying it's completely like, don't have conversations about someone or anything. Again, you have to ask yourself, are these constructive or destructive? How do I feel about them after? And if we took away these people from these conversations, are we able to have other conversations going, or that's all we have going on for us? For me, those are check. And for so many incidences, I've found that if I'm around people who are complaining and gossiping and they're doing all these things, by the time I leave, I feel drained. You feel an energy drain. Like, you feel unclean. I don't know if that makes sense.
It might
you
be
feel
a
like
little
a
complex. Hypocrite.
Yes.
That part.
You feel like a hypocrite, which is what you are explaining, that you never understood. Like, how are people talking about? And I found that it's even worse in corporate settings.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because in corporate settings, people want to vent about different things, I'm doing the work, so and so is not doing it. I'm doing this, and the other person is this. Can you imagine this person sent an email? The person is a bitch. Can you imagine that? And it's a form of venting.
Yeah.
But it's a very destructive form of venting. Because what happens is that's how you end up forming sort of like did you know that someone having a conversation about you can affect how you feel about that person? Like, if I come to you and I talk to you about someone else that you actually haven't even had a problem with, chances are high you'll be biased with that person.
It happens. But now I also have this, I've been calling it a weakness because it has been landing me in trouble. I have moments when someone tells me about something, I accept that is their experience of that person, and I always want to experience someone with an open heart, because chances are there are people I know in my life that I cannot stand, and yet they are the best for other people.
Yeah.
So I always want to approach people with an open mind, but sometimes it lands me in trouble because but then I also have this thing of approaching mindfully.
Experience.
I want to approach mindfully, well aware that there is a possibility of this.
Yeah.
So that I don't carry the other person's version to cloud me completely from fully experiencing this person.
So now the question is, how many people are approaching other people mindfully?
Barely. I don't know. I don't know much about them. It's usually a thing of creating, There people have been calling it recruiting enemies or what? Something like that. Balanidako, yes.
So anyway, it's something I'm still trying to analyze and assess, and it's something that just, has been on my mind these last few months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like, it's one of those things I would want to leave behind. I would want to take radical faith forward.
Yeah.
And leave behind destructive conversations. Maybe the word gossiping is too negative.
Destructive conversations is what makes more sense, actually.
Yeah, like if the conversations are not constructive, for me, again, that's an issue of constructive and destructive are subjective to people.
Exactly.
Cultures, races, blah, blah, blah. But for me, if I start to feel like this is a conversation that's taking away from me more than it's adding, I'd rather not have that conversation at all.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's hard because, like I say, there are different forms. Sometimes someone wants to vent and you have to listen. So now maybe you also practice, how do I listen without getting involved in this person's, emotional journey they are going through with that person. Sometimes it's tricky. I'll give you an example. If your mom comes up to you and she's, say, venting about someone, so the emotional conflict is, this is your mom.
Yeah.
You want to understand them, but you also don't want someone else hurting your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also don't want to get so involved in a destructive conversation because you know for sure it's destructive, and everything you say just adds fuel to the fire.
Right.
If I thought it's I'm giving you scenarios where it actually now feels like, okay, what are we doing? Or if it's your partner.
That one is complex.
Yeah, and you don't want to start telling people, oh, don't talk to me, that's Lugambo, but you want to start assessing how it's affecting you, and if it's worth it, because half of the time you're not even involved,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Now, because you can make someone talk.
Isn't
the
it?
way you can make someone talk, I didn't plan to tell you all these things.
Do I say I am sorry?
Yeah, you have a gift. It's a gift. How you get us to start talking, I don't know. Okay, let's maybe get to the actual things that you wanted us to talk about.
We have actually covered them. You came prepared.
No, I feel like that was.
It's like you prepared your speech.
My personal journey.
No, that is it. Because I was centering.
My personal journey, but I had my list. I had my list of things we should live in 2022.
You have a list of things you want to leave, eh?
Yeah.
Let us go through that list, my friend.
Munange this year has still been tagging their friends on posts says
Oh my God, you're choking me. Great.
I just wanted us to find those people to Bambi. Like, it's okay to post and not tag anyone. Like,
why are they doing that?
It's very okay.
There is this person who takes like a month without coming on board, and then the moment he comes, he has to tag you when he finds some content to post. I had to reach out to him, and I was like, and I reach out to people in worry that they're actually going to unfriend me because some of them have done that. They feel like I am supposed to be tagged, and the moment I ask them not to, they are angry.
Yeah, but I have a trick for people. You can there are settings where you can review all the tags so that not every bullshit is going to your wall.
No, I just don't want to be notified that you tagged me. You understand? It's not about it popping up, because it will not if I don't accept it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be
Yeah.
notified and then I find that it's nothing related to me. I want to find your content organically. Because at some point I'm like, should I start tagging 100 people on my podcast posts?
It's like you're literally forcing people to... I mean, maybe there are people who can testify that tagging has worked for them in terms of reach.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's one of those things that, again, I've been talking about privacy recently, even on one of my posts, or boundaries. I feel like it's one of those things which you just don't have to do. Like, just inquire before you tag someone and stuff. Find out if they're interested in that. Be sure.
Someone actually did that. There's a person who asked me if they should tag me, and I didn't mind, because what they wanted to talk about did really make sense to me.
Yeah.
But me, I have a problem. If I find that you have tagged me with 100 others, me, I don't even read. I don't.
Yeah.
Because I know you're forcing my eyes to open for your post. Like, I'm going to close them.
Yeah, so we need those people to chill. Like, just chill, don't tag us. Then maybe one of the other things we can also leave behind is uncorrelated quotes with photos. Like, people think it's a must to post a photo with a quote. Like, you don't have to be a philanthropist, a psychologist, a theologist. You don't even need to disturb the Bible. Just post your photo. Like, we shall still like...
Hi, Kirungi.
Okay, like, I'm not refusing people to put captions, yeah?
We are
it's okay,
not,
put
but
your
there's
caption.
the time when we are really struggling. Like, no, this is a struggle.
Like, there's when you really read the caption and you see the photo and you're like, you really didn't need to do that. Like, you could have just posted the photo and would see you and would still like and comment.
There are people who pose the same way in all photographs, and they're still captioning, one thing about me is I am a high something. I'm like,
Yeah, man, people have crazy quotes. People put crazy captions and sometimes it's like, how long did that take you, to come up with that quote or that caption? I don't know. The third thing, I just have about just 5. The third thing is this idea that people got of pulling out their smartphones at people's weddings. Where do all those videos they record go and photos? Like, I feel like people just do things unconsciously, yeah?
Yeah.
You're in church on a wedding, someone is walking down the aisle. They're official photographers and videographers. You're at the wedding reception and there's just all this number of people recording these videos. Like, how Bagola coming and everyone pulls out a phone. So sometimes I'm thinking, because me, I MC, so I'm at events and I'm always thinking,
yeah,
are they doing this subconsciously? Like, how you just do something because everyone else is doing it?
No, I think with the
memory is really important for them.
It's one thing about memories, it's another about, oh my God, let me capture this.
Yeah, and then what do you do with that after?
Sometimes you find people's galleries full of things they don't need. I'm sorry to say that.
You're very right. You're right, because I've seen it on so many levels. People even record things that they don't even really care about. Like, it's just an idea of, I have a smartphone, let me pull it out and record. For me, it's more of the ego in play at that point. Is like, well, we have smartphones. Smartphones have cameras. Let's record. Let's show the world that we have a smartphone that can record.
Yeah,
Half of the time, the quality is horrible.
Thank you.
Like, you see someone
recording,
I wanted to say. And the quality is so bad, and you're thinking, why are you even bothering? Like, it's just not worth it,
Last night, no, it wasn't last night. Like, today is Boxing Day. Christmas Eve, I was there for mass, and this guy, well knowing that his picture quality is terrible, pulled out his phone and switched on the flash to start recording people. When he reached my side, I looked away. I'm not going to come with my face raggedy. I refuse.
No, and for you, actually, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's subconscious because they don't even notice the quality. Sorry, but maybe they don't even care about the quality.
They have just
That
capturing
goes
the
to show,
moment.
you know how you just said that a lot of people have things on their phones that they actually don't really need or don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to speak a lot about how we clutter our lives with things we don't need in general.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's very subconscious. It's on a subconscious level, but for me, when I'm seeing that happening, I'm thinking, oh my God, this program really, really works. This mind control program where a culture can be created by making people do the same thing, even when it benefits them.
That's where
And
mindfulness comes in.
Exactly. So people's minds are so cluttered and they don't mind cluttering a little more. And whereas they are doing it on a physical level, it's happening metaphysically, on the mind level and plane. So you just have all this clutter and you're not even thinking that this is going to clutter my phone. My memory should not just be used for, random videos. Maybe let me wait for official videos. And I'm not saying don't take photos and don't take videos. Do you? I'm really not against it. But because I MC a lot of weddings, I observe human behavior.
Yeah.
And half of the time after that wedding is done, no one remembers those videos they were recording. So it goes to show you that it was more of in the moment action,
Impulsiveness.
Yes, it was more impulsive. No one is thinking, am I going to use these videos? Am I going to post them or anything? So I feel like that's something that people should be more aware of. Like whenever you're going to pull out your phone to record something, before you even start recording, ask yourself, is this really, really important? Do I need to record this?
Mm-hmm.
Or can I be in the moment? Because I feel like people are missing out on the emotions of the day, the joy, the actual moment is passing by because have been wired to record every moment.
You have pointed out something that is very important, and it drove me to something that I had a problem with. There's a time when I was surprising someone, it was their birthday, and I went with the cake singing to them, and they were like, this was what's the word? This was unexpected. But no, you've not recorded where.
Exactly. That's what I'm
trying to tell you. I was like, wait, what?
And it's very subconscious. I'm so sure she wasn't doing it out of in a bad way or anything. It's just something that has been programmed. Like we are being programmed 24/7, and because we're not being mindful and we're not meditating and not taking time to be more self-aware, we go with that program. That's why I say this program is so strong. Every time I'm at events, I look at the program and I'm like, wow, this program is really strong. Like it has really worked. So in that, people are no longer living in the moment. We are living for the for social media, for
this person is not even active really on social media. They're not. I don't know.
Exactly, it's a program. Like we are just wired to. Now that you have smartphones, record.
I'm like, everything there is no recording even. I'm like, wait, what? I was very happy to surprise you.
Yeah.
We had to redo it, and it was just all performance. And I was like, oh, I don't like this.
Wow, that took out the emotions,
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, I wouldn't want to redo that. That's crazy. You literally had to redo the whole thing?
Yeah, with a recording.
Oh no. But again, I'm so glad you bring up this example because I guess it's now speaking to the problem I have with this whole thing where we just record without being mindful of why we are recording, And, well, someone may argue that, you need those memories and stuff. I feel like some of these memories even come out after someone has died. It's like that's when someone remembers, oh, by the way, I even had a video with them or a photo with them. And that doesn't, like at the end of the day, for me, I feel like we need to start breaking away from this program and being more mindful and just being in the emotion of things, because that's what really matters at the end of the day. How someone makes you feel, how you made them feel, not how you looked when you recorded each other and stuff. So
Right.
Yeah. Fourth, oh wow, I told you five, so we're almost
Yes,
done.
we're number 4.
This one is tricky. Undefined relationships, Panang. Those ones, we should leave them behind. And I'm saying it's tricky because I am shaking so many tables, including mine.
Elaborate. Take us through these friendships.
So, our generation is quite, I love our generation. It's very interesting. I feel like we are the epitome of civilization in our generation. Like, we've gotten to witness a lot of things, you know. And you think about the fact that years ago women were not even allowed to do some things, and there are some countries that don't even allow women to do anything. And I'm here each day that I'm looking, that I'm alive, I'm thinking I'm so privileged as a woman to exist in this generation,
Right.
in this era where I can drive, I can sit on a table with men, I can say something in public, I have an opinion,
You can eat
I can
chicken.
do all these things. I can even eat chicken. Can you imagine chicken? And yeah, and there's just all these privileges that come with this generation and being in this era, including the ability to date whoever you want, whenever you want. You actually have the privilege. Again, we're not being married off. That's why I'm saying it's such a privilege.
Right.
Because had you not been born in this era, you'd probably have been born at a time where you were betrothed at the age of, I don't know, whenever your periods come.
The moment you come out, maybe.
Or the moment you come out, there's already someone who's telling your father that, my son is
I don't know
ready.
why people find this normal, but I see people in the comment section saying, "My son-in-law." I'm like, hey, my dear, why are people doing this?
Culturally, yeah, I know, right? It's like the culture still stays there, the DNA somehow. But I just think about the privilege I have, and I realize, okay, I'm in an era where I could choose a partner, I could choose not to be with them, I could crush on someone and explore them and figure out and it's really, really, I feel like it's a privilege, to be honest. For me, I feel like it's a privilege. I know other people look at it as, maybe girls are whores or whatever. But for me, I'm thinking, well, if I was not born in this era, I'd probably have been married off at the tender age of...
Who holds more than the men?
Exactly. So one of the things that that sort of crossed my mind is, despite the privilege that we have, we are a generation that is so afraid to define things.
Right.
Especially with men.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
We
it's
like this phrase, it's not serious.
When it's not defined, because again, defining something makes it serious, right? Like it carries the responsibility of it. So what we do is we do everything that partners are doing, that intimate people are doing, except have a conversation where the relationship is defined. And I've found that so many people, I keep telling people, we need to stop being rivers, because how can you be in flow all the time?
Go with the flow, eh?
Yeah, so many people just want to go with the flow. They want to be rivers. I guess someone may argue it's not a bad thing, but this is my argument. I'm not saying don't date, don't explore. I'm just saying, in that moment, whoever you're with, whatever time it takes, can we practice the art of defining things?
Right.
And I sort of understand why we have also been wired not to define things. Every time you define things, you are in control of, you're aware, you're in control of what you know and what is happening. Having undefined situations or relationships takes away your control. And again, I'm sorry, I almost sound like a conspiracy theorist when I say we are being wired and programmed to do things a certain way. People don't know that, but the program is that strong, people. Like we are being wired to approach life that way, through the movies, through gender, I don't know, definitions which are changing each day. So you can't even define someone's gender accurately. Like it could change in like a few months to come.
Few months, hours.
Like I could say now I don't there's a word they use that
Identify.
I don't do it with. I don't identify. You get all that is wiring or programming meant to keep you in a gray area.
Right.
And so we are carrying this programming into our families, into our relationships, into our friendships. And that's why I told you again, for me, this year has been about redefining what friendship means for me. Because if you really, really take time to ask yourself the tough questions, and in this case, if you're in a relationship and you take time to say, so what are we doing? Or what are we? Which is a question some people don't even know.
They don't like it.
And in our generation, that's a tough conversation. Like, why are you complicating? Don't complicate things.
Can you imagine?
If you take time to analyze certain friendships and really, really ask yourself the tough questions, like, what really makes us friends? Like, is this friendship, mutual? Is it one-sided? There are so many tough questions you need to ask yourself so that we can get out of undefined relationships,
Right.
And you'll find that you're more focused and more aligned when your relationships are defined.
That is true. Because at least there you know what you're doing with your life.
Exactly.
But I feel like we like it we like it where we are not fully aware of ourselves. We like to be on the surface. We do not want to go deeper to find out what is down here.
Yeah.
What is the foundation? What are the roots holding this?
And I guess it's in other people's interest that we are like that we are not deep human beings.
It is.
It's easy to control people who are not interested or aware of themselves,
Hey, didn't you see someone? I put up a link just I think last week. It must have been 5 days ago. I put up a link where people can reach me anonymously. And one of the things that someone sent were, you look so serious with life even when people are dying every day. Do you think you'll manage marriage? I'm like...
Everything in that question is not connected, but
it's so weird. I was like, choose what are you trying to communicate?
What are you trying to communicate? What exactly are you trying to find out about me?
Yeah, but the thing of you are so serious, people are dying every day.
Okay, so again, like you're saying, it's anyway. I don't know what state of mind that person was in, but I get it. Like, as you can see, it's so easy to just assume, make assumptions about things and about people, and not try to really get to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, I told someone in anything when we are asked to choose logic and shallow, we are going to go for the down there. That's what we like.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I think one of the things you want to leave behind is undefined relationships. It's really important to define relationships moving forward. Defined relationships create a sense of loyalty,
right?
And they also create that sense of security, because then you're certain about what kind of relationship you have. Also, let it be noted that the people who want the undefined relationship are the ones benefiting from it being that way. And so whenever you're in a situation where you are the one asking for the relationship to be defined, and the relationship is not being defined, or the other person feels like it's not important, that means they benefit more from this relationship being undefined.
Right.
It's a sort of manipulative tactic, which also means if you're the one who wants the relationship to not be defined, it's because you know that you benefit more from that relationship being that way, and the other person is being used. Next, you are a user as well. So it's a question that you should constantly ask yourself, what's my role in this relationship? If you're a daughter, be a daughter. If you're a friend, what kind of friend you want to be? If you're a partner, if you're supporting in, say, church activities, whichever relationship you have around you, you want to define it. And you may not necessarily define it for the other person. You can't do that. You can only define it for yourself, yeah? Once you define it, then you're able to assess and know, okay, does this work for me? Do I want to be in this position anymore? Do I want to continue doing this? And yeah, I guess that's the whole journey of being more self-aware, like you said, going deeper, not staying on the surface.
Right.
All right, so number 5.
But even then, if someone knew for even 2 months about what we're going to talk about, would they have, So take your compliments. Don't
thank you.
Don't swat it away.
I was trying to actually.
Don't do that. The things that you're supposed to live in 2022 is swatting compliments that are genuine.
Man, that's like a real hustle. If you've grown up thinking a certain way and feeling a certain way and having to deal with a lot of self-worth issues,
right?
It really is not easy to get used to taking compliments, easily. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. So number 5, sugar. Like, I know this is a tough one.
Yeah.
Even for myself, but for me, I think I've made strides so far. I really, really wish a lot of us can try. It's not easy, but I wish we can try to reduce the amount of sugar we are taking.
By sugar, do you mean the different types of processed sugar, or are we just looking at sugar in chai?
I'm looking at the different types of processed sugar.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a lot of processed things, the sodas, sugar itself that we buy, It's a conversation a lot of people don't really want to have. It's one of the conversations we have within our, smaller circles with friends. We're not having it on a wider coverage or on bigger platforms. And I felt like you're on my list. If you try to do more research about sugar and the effect of sugar on the body, you will realize that it really, really is harmful.
Yeah.
It's addictive, and we're taking more than what the body can process. And it's again, there's like a whole industry set up just to put sugar in everything, And if you start to go deeper into energy management and understanding our bodies, the connection between mind, body, and soul, which I call the Father, Son, and Spirit, you will find that sugar plays a very big role in limiting that energy flow and creating energy stuck up in the cells,
There's a way
so
how
people
it fires you out.
Yeah, people get sick and stuff because of sugar. It feeds cells with some toxic shit. That's a lot of science. People are not even interested in it. Everyone is like, yeah, we are all going to die. Cool. So I don't want to talk to those people. I want to talk to the people who are interested in elevating their spiritual life. If you really, really want to take this spiritual journey and elevate your life, you want to consider quitting sugar. Or if quitting is very hard, consider really, really reducing the amount of sugar you take. I'll give you an example. I don't buy sugar where I stay in my home. I don't use sugar. I usually buy organic honey.
I can't stand
But
honey.
if I went out with friends, yeah, but everything is acquired taste. Even the sugar we take is acquired taste, because there's an experiment they did where they got these kids who are babes, and they raised them without ever tasting sugar. And the first time they tasted sugar was after they were adults, and they hated the taste. They just felt like it was the worst. Yeah, it was like taking alcohol. And so the whole experiment was to show you that sugar is an acquired taste. And the problem with sugar is it really fucks up with your taste buds. Once you learn how to take that, test sugar. Okay, once that test is put in your mind, you start to feel like nothing else tastes good without it.
But I struggled with sugar when I was growing up. Like, not sugar generally, the processed drinks and all. Sugar specifically in tea. One thing that really reminds me of this is I must have been in primary 3, and that's about the age of 8. My brother had prepared, I think, porridge. And when I finished it, I found that when he had stirred, the sugar had not fully stirred in the porridge. So there was some concentrated at the base of the cup. So I showed it to him and I was like, hey, look, this remained. And he was like, take it. I was like, I cannot. And then he was like, bring your cup. And he took it. He was chewing this sugar. But then I realized for a specific period, especially when I was in boarding school, I'm not yet sure what exactly I might have been struggling with. I don't know if it was just the too much sugar in the porridge or just porridge generally. I don't know. I've not yet found the right answer. But when I had just the first 2 terms, it was a great experience of eating white porridge. And then in the 3rd term, my stomach couldn't have it. Like, it would go in and then just come out in a few minutes. But then I realized, I don't know, because I think there was a time when I took it and I don't know, I'm not yet sure. I'm not yet sure. But then I became more peaceful when I graduated to maybe HSC, and I saw myself reducing the amount of sugar I take. Not HSC, what is that thing called? High school, S1, senior 1. I started cutting down on the sugar I take, and I was like, I like this better. And then I was like, let's see, if I reduce it, what would it taste? I'm like, I really like this, you know? And then by campus, I was like, do I really have to keep pretending?
That you like sugar. That's so different, you know. Like, for you, you wouldn't even struggle with the idea of like quitting sugar and stuff.
It wasn't a struggle, but even with the honey, I think generally I'm not so much of a sweet
stuff.
Yeah, it's really rare for me. So even for the honey, you see how honey is medicinal.
Yeah.
I don't mind popping pills.
I guess
if you give me honey, I am struggling. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, I think people, we recommend honey because it's like the closest to something you can replace the sugar with.
I've had stevia. Have you heard of it?
What's even better? Pardon?
Have you heard of stevia?
No, what's that?
It's a plant. It's plant-based. But it can be refined into powder. People use it as well. It's a natural sweetener. Yeah. But it's a herb.
Yeah, and there are many options. There are many options, actually. I don't know. People need to find out now. There's that, which I didn't even know about. I'll research more about it. They also need to... I've been told the best way to eliminate the acquired taste of sugar is using fruits. Like, if you can replace all the times you take sugar with fruits, or the cravings you get for sugar with fruits, then that would really, really work. But I've also found that managing your sugar intake also helps you to manage your weight. A lot of people think I work out, yet I don't. I rarely work out, by the way. But I've found that every time I reduce my sugar intake, I maintain my body a certain way. Like, the body starts to become firm, it stops being saggy and stuff like that. Or I don't know. So, you know, there's a way sugar makes your body or skin look. I don't know how to explain it.
The scientists will help when they come through.
Exactly, they will. But for me personally, I found that my body improves. Everything improves when I reduce my sugar intake. Now, is it easy? Not at all.
It isn't.
It isn't. It isn't. And it's not a journey for the faint-hearted. Again, like I said, the road to heaven is really, really narrow. Like, the road to being your higher self is narrow and it's really tough getting there. And the road to hell is super wide. Super wide.
So many options.
We are constantly, which road we are taking. Yeah, I think that's it from me. Now, there's a word everyone needs to drop.
Which
because
one?
we are in 2022. Without any further ado, I don't know. Without any further ado, like, what are we doing? What is that? Why are we still in that sentence? But anyway, without any further ado, that is the end of my list for things we should leave behind in 2022.
Hi, Kirungi.
And I hear people using that word, I'm like, why? I feel like screaming, why? Why are you using it right now?
Kirungi, thank you so much for sharing with us your 2022. And I wish for you to experience 2023 with bigger wings and boss moves.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure being here. I want to come back in 2023.
I will bring you. Maybe we should start scheduling this more often.
True.
And we
Thank you so much.
We check the things that people are doing subconsciously.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, be blessed. Happy New Year and good luck to hashtag with the Navugazichwani card for 2023.
Amen. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Bye.
And that is it from her. I don't know. Again and again, I'm going to be asking, are you reflecting and assessing yourself? Yeah, you need this. You can't just float. Life does not work like that. You need to be mindful. Check with yourself. Reflect upon this year, assess yourself, and figure out how best you're going to S the 12 months of 2023. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Hashtag with Navugazichwani. If you loved what you heard, make sure you subscribe to Hashtag with Navugazichwani in your podcast platform of choice and share it with your friends, loved ones, and everyone that you believe is affected by the millennial world around us. Also, feel free to share your insights about what connected with you on social media and be sure to tag us. We are at Hashtag with Navugazichwani on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter our handle is at HTNK Podcast. Bye! Happy 2023!